Hey, I was just watching this video. It just cracked me up. It was probably on Instagram. And there was this little dog, like a Chihuahua type dog, and this big dog. And they were separated by a sliding glass door. And the Chihuahua was just going off on him, just barking like crazy. And the little big dog was like, eh. Then what's funny is that you probably have seen it. The sliding door was pulled open, and instantly the Chihuahua whoop, realized there was no protection externally and instantly clammed up. And that's where the video ended. So who knows what happened after that. But it made me think about how easy it is in general for people to say things or make statements or assertions when there is a dividing line, and that we're way more bold when we're driving in traffic, people are, than if we're standing in line with another person. How many times do you receive sort of like people yelling and shaking their fists and doing obscene gestures in their car? But like, what if you cut them off at the return line at Kohl's? Would they do that? I kind of think not. So when we have this distance between us, we tend to be emboldened and say things or act in a way that isn't necessarily characteristic of how we want to come across. It might be characteristic of who we are deep down inside. So the more anonymity that's involved, the easier it is to talk. So in general, that's an interesting psychological phenomenon, but I was applying it to witnessing and sharing God's word. And it is easier to come on here and to talk about biblical truth. And sometimes it's scary face to face when there's less anonymity, when there's more conversation happening back and forth. And I wanted to share with you some counseling techniques and basic skills, two of them, super easy, that I have used over the years that has helped me be able to plant seeds for God in a way that is less scary. So I always set the ground rules. And number one is we are both agreeing to be respectful and not angry. And not just in our hearts, but in our actions. We're both agreeing that in our hearts, we're going to be respectful and not angry, and we're not going to act out that toward each other. So that's the first ground rule. And if they agree to that, the second ground rule is we're not going to try to persuade one another about our own views. We're just sharing and trying to gain understanding about where the person's coming from, what makes them tick, why they think what they're thinking. So you're asking a lot of calm questions and you're just exploring. And ideally that person is doing the same back. Now here's what I found. You might be like, well, where's the witnessing in that? If you're just validating them, no, I'm not validating. I'm curious and I'm exploring and I'm understanding, because that's the start of change and trust. And greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world. Truth will win out. Whether it's during the conversation you're having with that person or you're planting a seed that will then germinate and flower later, we never know. But in the process of understanding someone and taking the time and truly from a heart's perspective caring about them, and that's not always easy from a human perspective, but you can pray to God that he will give you that heart of compassion and love toward the other person. And God is faithful to do that. But when you're approaching with those respectful, not angry, and not persuading, quite a few times the conversation will roll around where the person is softened and they're more open and they're asking questions that you can tell are very personal, especially when there's not an audience. If there's an audience, people are kind of, they're sort of taking a stand and seeking the glory from those around them. But when it's just a one-on-one conversation, as long as you hold those two ground rules for yourself and the expectations of the other person, a lot of times it plants some really amazing seeds and you're able to witness and it leads to other wonderful things. So give that a try. Just give it a try. And it also takes the pressure off of me witnessing, because it's kind of fun to be curious and learn about other people. and then God will give you the opening when the time is right. All right, let me know your experience in witnessing, the things that you do that help you be bold for God. I would love to hear that. I might implement some of those things. All right, have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.